Greetings and salutations, YouTube. I wanted to put this video out because I really wanted to get some opinions from some of you out here. If you like or agree with me, you can just hit the like button. But I really want to hear from people who may have a differing opinion because I'm trying to educate myself on the topic and learn a little bit more. So maybe you can help me understand some of these items. And I've been thinking about this particular topic for a while, and I'm sure it's a conversation that a number of you out here have amongst your friends or colleagues. But it came back to the forefront of my mind when about a week ago I was watching Joe Rogan, which I enjoy thoroughly. Congratulations to him for moving on to Spotify and signing that huge deal. But he was having a conversation with David Pakman. I'm not familiar with Pakman's background, but they were having a discussion on the topic of this very platform, YouTube. They were having a conversation related to how YouTube should be managed, how it should be treated. Apparently, maybe not only recently, but throughout kind of I guess more the recent existence of YouTube, there has been some concern that YouTube and Twitter and other social media platforms are suppressing conservative thought. So before I proceed, I want y'all to understand that I am what I refer to myself as a centrist. And maybe there's a name that already exists for that. I don't really like politics. I don't get into politics that much. But my thing is, essentially, I fall on what can be considered one side or the other of a line on various subjects, but I think my position probably moves depending on the topic. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like what I believe should infringe on what somebody else believes. It should be like, I believe this, you believe the opposite, we can agree to disagree and keep it moving. Or it's a situation where we got to come up with an answer where we need some solution that both of us agree to, that we should be able to meet somewhere in the middle and work that out. But I digress. So basically, Joe Rogan is very much a free speech person, and he feels his position was that it's a slippery slope. And, it starts off with conservative thought people being censored or moved. And I guess there may be some situations where it's not even a conservative thought thing, but just if you are sharing information that YouTube does not specifically agree with, then they kind of suppress that. And maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. And so it brings up the discussion of the public square. And I've had friends of mine that view YouTube as a public square. They treat it like the park. We all pay taxes in our various municipalities. And in those... We pay taxes in our various municipalities, and when we pay those taxes, they go to things like building a park. And if I had a message that I was trying to share and get out there, because I pay taxes on that piece of public property, I can get myself a stool or a bench or whatever and go stand out there and yell at the top of my lungs about whatever the thing is I believe. If you believe the opposite, because you pay your taxes, you also can get a stool and put it out there in that park, and you can scream at the top of your lung what your beliefs are, what you believe. I don't think YouTube is a public square. I think YouTube is a big ass mansion. I mean, it was, and here's what I mean by that. I feel like YouTube is a big house that somebody that, in this case, Google has purchased. 3 dudes, 3 roommates were living there, and then Google came by and was like, dude, I'll give you $1.5 billion for the whole thing. And the 3 of them said, cool, you can have it. And Google bought it, and they opened up to say, hey man, we bought this mansion. Any and all are welcome. The door's always open. You're welcome to whatever's in the fridge. The pool's out back. You want to do that? I mean, you're welcome to everything, and that's what happens. I mean, you got the gearheads out in the garage and in the driveway, building cool stuff and doing burnouts in front of the house. You got models out by the pool, uh, doing fashion runs or whatever else. You got the outdoor kids with guns and bows and arrows and everything else out and back in the yard, shooting stuff. You got the nerds in the house, the left nerds in their room talking in their vacuum, the right nerds in their vacuum, talking amongst themselves. And then every now and again, a nerd from the left room and a nerd from the right room will go down to the basement and step into the octagon to slap box. They ain't really gonna do no real fighting. They just kind of yell and scream at each other. And so the Google, the owner of this mansion, they said, yeah, everybody can come in. And say, the only rule I have is like, dude, if you start talking sideways, you start saying something I don't really approve of, you gotta leave. You gotta go. So for a while, I guess everything was fine, everything was cool, and then somebody invited a person like Alex Jones. And Alex said, oh man, he's in there, he's like, oh, this is fucking awesome, man. This is gonna be great. And he hangs out there, and for a while, Google lets him hang out. And then at some point, as a person like an Alex Jones, I'm just using him because he's the most obvious example, but eventually he says some stuff that Google doesn't like, or whoever runs the house doesn't like. And they probably was a situation where they're like, hey man, cool out, like stop all that. Like I said, you're more than welcome to be here. You keep talking reckless like that, you don't have to go. All right, man, I'm okay. It's all right. My bad. And he probably is, he's always kind of that crazy guy. But, eventually he says some stuff that just gets out of pocket. And eventually Google said, all right, man, you got to leave. Like, you can't be here anymore. And so then he or people like him will go down the street. And now, what was once a cool thing to do, a great place to hang out, now anybody who will listen, he screams to the top of his lung about how they won't let me do what I want to do in their house. That's not fair. And I honestly believe it's because a little research that I've done, I mean, YouTube was purchased by Google. Google is a publicly traded company, which means that it cannot be run kind of unilaterally by a certain group. If it's a publicly traded company, that means they have a board of directors or whatever. So there's multiple people. Now, those multiple people tend to have similar thought, then that's just kind of what happens. Again, as I understand it, if I understand it correctly, and if I'm not, please in the comment section tell me I'm wrong, but YouTube was developed by 3 dudes who came up with the system and then Google bought it from them. So it sounds like what we have here is conservative people are mad they didn't make the right gamble. They didn't have the foresight to see what YouTube was going to be and purchase it. I know there's got to be people who think to the right of center who have multi-millions of dollars and could have put together a team that could have made an offer similar to or greater than what Google did for YouTube. So what you're really mad about, or what that group is really mad about, is that you didn't have the foresight to buy YouTube when it wasn't what it currently is. And that's what all this, that's what all kind of technology and companies and businesses are about, right? It's like when you invest in the stock market, you're investing thinking that this company is this thing right now, but it's going to become something that makes me money later on. So you take a gamble because there's a very good chance you pay your money, buy your shares, and that whole thing falls apart and you lose that money. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the matter. And again, like I said, I'm putting this video out because I'm hopeful that some people maybe who believe opposite or can help me understand or can help point out some things that I don't recognize. And maybe one day the government will decide that YouTube or Google or any of those other things are like Standard Oil. Standard Oil at one time, all your gas stations you see around here, your Texacos, your Chevrons, your Amicos, all that stuff used to be Standard Oil. And at some point, the government's like, that, like, Rockefeller, you can't have all this. You're going to have to break this up. And he had to sell off the individual pieces. So maybe YouTube will be like that. But I feel like YouTube is a piece of technology. And that in this particular case, when we're talking about conservative thought people being suppressed, well, you just need to come up with a better idea or come up with your own platform. And one of the points Joe Rogan made in this particular interview was he was saying that, like, at this point, the amount of money required to come up with a YouTube platform would just be too much. It's too expensive, and you couldn't do it. Well, I mean, I'm sure at some point somebody thought that YouTube as it currently exists couldn't have been done. So I can't really believe, like, I am very interested in science, and I've seen new discoveries. Like, people didn't look at the first light bulb and say, well, the light bulb game is dead, because, like, who's ever going to come up with a better idea than that? Now we have LED light bulbs or televisions. Televisions used to be the size and the weight of boat anchors, and now your 8-year-old kid can hold one under his arm and hang it on his wall. So yeah, I don't have much sympathy if everybody had an equal opportunity to purchase or own something like a YouTube, and you just guessed wrong or came to the party late or didn't make a high enough bid, or the guys who owned it just said, I'm not selling it to you because I don't know what you're going to use it for. Again, kind of their house, their rules. I recognize as I make this video, they might see it, or somebody might see it and be like, yeah, we're going to put that all the way to the bottom of the list to make sure nobody ever sees it. Or they can just boot it out altogether. And I can't be mad. I can be mad that it was booted, but I don't feel like I have any recourse to go to them and be like, you can't do that. Because it's their house. It's their platform. Like, I need to find a way around it. And for those of you who feel like your voice is being suppressed, like you aren't being given an adequate opportunity to share your views through this platform, find a new platform. Come up with a new way. They say necessity is the mother of invention. So what you need is a place where you can say what you want when you get ready. And if you feel like YouTube is not giving you the opportunity or the chance to say what you want when you get ready, then you need to invent something that does. So that was just I really am looking for more information in regards to that. But at the end of the day, like I said, I feel like this is, in terms of Google, it's more like a vacation home. They're not always, it's just one place that they live. So, yeah, man, their house, their rules. So if you don't like it, come up with something better or adjust the way you present your material. And the same goes for the president. He's mad at Twitter now. Same thing. That's their house. They can boot you out whenever they see fit. Don't be mad because you didn't come up with a better idea. Or if you are mad, have your people come up with a better idea. You're the president. You know all kind of scientists. You know what I'm saying? If they can make a weapon that can hit somebody from half a world away, surely they can come up with a way for you to get to your, whatever it is you say, your 1.8 million or whoever it is, Twitter followers. You can't be mad when you ride around in somebody else's car or you hang out in somebody else's house, and then when you do something with their car or house that they don't like, they tell you you can't use it anymore. Or I'm going to put restrictions on how you use it. It's theirs. They can do what they see. They can treat it how they see fit. That's true of anything. If somebody decides they don't want to make you a cake, they don't have to make you a cake if it's their cake business. That's the whole freedom part of America. So, again, like I said, as far as YouTube is concerned, again, I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but as far as YouTube is concerned, their house, their rules, man. I'll holler at y'all later.